Thank you guys for being here today. Quick review of the Iowa State game. One of the things I don't know that we really didn't cover Saturday after the game, but that we really felt like was a strength. I'm very, very happy with how we played on the defensive line in the game. Specifically, Kenneth Mann, Amani Bledsoe, and Neville Gallimore, played. And I would throw Dylan Fomital in that as well. Those four guys played just combined as strong a game as we've played on the defensive front in some time. You talk about just a combined effort. Those guys were outstanding. And we were little, the depth wasn't as good as it's been with Lott and Overton and those guys out. And so, three of those guys took a lot of snaps, in those conditions against a challenging offense. And they did a great job. I mean, to hold them, what we did rushing, as far as our rush defense, even with not tackling the way that we wanted to, I think was, you could directly attribute that to how well those guys played. So that's not something you can always see during the game, but going back and watching the film, I thought those four guys were outstanding. So very, very pleased with the way, that we've played there. And, I think some of the things we've talked about as far as that defensive front, the mentality, you see us really growing in that area. So excited about the way they played and continuing to improve there. But it's one of those games. Again, you kind of look back. You're in some respects you're disappointed in some areas because don't feel like that we just played our absolute best. But it's like we talked about in our staff meeting this morning. Man, that was a big win. I mean, that was a big, big win. And so we're thrilled with the win. We know that we've got to play better. We're going to have to continue to play better, and that's part of early season ball. But we're in a great position now, and excited here to get back at home. Excited to finally play a kickoff that's not noon or earlier. So to have a 6 o'clock kick will be great for our fans. Great for our players. Our guys are excited about it. Great for our recruits. So it's certainly time for one of those, and got a very good opponent coming in here. A game that we've known for a while was going to be a challenge with Army, and Coach Monken's done a great job there. I mean, you got a double-digit win team, a team that the first thing everybody wants to talk about is what they do offensively. From a schematic standpoint, with running the triple, but these guys are really good on defense, and they run their offense just so. They're so efficient with it. I mean, it's even with the new quarterback this year, they're throwing the ball probably better than they have in the past. They lost a guy that was a tremendous quarterback for them before, but they don't look like they've missed a beat. And like I said, the throw portion is maybe even more of a threat than what we've seen out of them in the previous few years. So, you're talking about a team that knows how to win, a team that brought back a lot of players, a team that's very tough to defend, very multiple defensively. I mean, going to be a great challenge. And then also I know it's exciting for a lot of our fan base, especially from this part of the country, getting to play a service academy. I think we've got a lot of great things planned, from the administrative side to honor, all our veterans, all our people that do serve. That's certainly a factor here, and it will be highlighted this week as it should. So I know looking forward to all that as well. So with that, we'll go to questions.
I heard a couple of national people say this weekend that it wasn't Baker or Kyler, not about their talent, it's about a system, and that they're simply system players.
Yeah, it's the same argument we've been having for years and years and years. I mean, it takes everything. If you got really good players and don't have a good system, it's not going to work. And if you got a great system and not very good players, it's not going to work either. I mean, to do it at the level that we've been able to do it, you got to have really good players. You got to have a good system. You got to have everybody on the same page. And those guys, are two tremendous players. I mean, there's no denying it. I mean, one guy was just the number one, won the Heisman, and was the number one pick in the NFL draft. And the guy we're playing with right now is playing at a very high level as well. So, that's always kind of been the discussion. I think we got really good players and a really good system.
Mark Jackson's become one of your leading tacklers. What kind of has his emergence meant to your defense? defense?
Yeah, it's been key, especially with the whole situation with Addison Gumbs injury and then the transfer and the fact we were had some youth there and replacing obviously a really good football player from the last couple of years, and that position's been a strength of our defense for a long time now, and so Mark's done a really nice job. We've been pleased with the way he's played up to this point. He's been physical. He's held up in the run game. He's always had pretty strong ability as a pass rusher, and I think he's getting, as he's taking all the snaps that he is, I think he's getting even more comfortable and loose and able to play more athletic, which he is. And so he's done a great job. He really has. And the fun thing for him is, he can play a lot better. And so Mike's done a really nice job getting him ready to play, and happy with his progress.
Lincoln, you and Mike both talked about it wasn't a good tackling day for you, but in this day and age, limited roster, 2 hours a day, how do you work on tackling, or how do you come back the next week and try to get better at it?
Oh, you just make it an emphasis. I think some of it's physical and some of it's mental. There's some fundamental things that we need to do better that we're going to spend a lot of time on this week, and knowing obviously how important it's going to be this week with this group we're getting ready to face. And then I think it's also, you always kind of battle as a coach, and playing some of the teams we have the last few weeks and the challenges they present schematically of how much time do you spend on scheme, how much time do you spend on fundamentals, there's always some give and take. There's times where you feel like you spend too much time on fundamentals and maybe there's something schematically that you weren't prepared for, and then if you cut the fundamentals just a little bit, then you feel the leakage there. So it's constant. It's ever changing. You evaluate your guys each week. You decide, kind of what they need, what we got to get better at. That obviously exposed, that we got to do a better job there, and we've got a great plan to get that done this week.
Jason Kersey.
Yeah, Lincoln, as you've had so much success running the ball, are teams starting to scheme to stop that a little bit better? Is that getting tougher to run the ball? And if so, do you have to kind of be in constant evolution mode to stay ahead of that?
No, I wouldn't say it's been tougher. No, I don't feel that. Teams have tried a lot of different things against us over the last few years, so you certainly are always have to have some type of answer. If people are going to try to be aggressive and take something away, you have to be aggressive right back at them. And so whether that's running, whether that's throwing, whatever that is, you have to have things you can hurt people with. And so I don't see anything, new that we're seeing right now or any more challenges than we've ever had. It's still always difficult to run the ball. It's always the first thing that every defensive coordinator in America wants to stop. And it takes a lot of people on the same page to do it well, And so, no, I think we're right on course. We've ran the ball solid here the first 3 weeks, first 3 games, very much kind of like we did last year at this time. We've been so close to breaking so many that all of a sudden any of these games you throw in one more 50 or 60-yard run, and then the whole stat line looks different, the whole perception's different, and we've been just agonizingly close, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We had kind of the same thing last year. We didn't have really any big runs from what I remember until maybe the Tulane game. I think maybe Abdul popped one maybe in the Tulane game. That was one of the first, big long runs that we had that season. So it takes some time, and we're close, and we're eventually going to start popping the big ones.
John in the back.
On the tackling, Lincoln, Kenneth Murray said that you guys have elements of tackling segments throughout practice or throughout the week in practice. You're coming off a bad day like Saturday. Do you add elements? Do you add segments of tackling drills, or how do you emphasize that? How do you add the emphasis?
Yeah, no, it's through practice structure. I think it's you find you just sit there. You can't sit there and say, well, we just tackled bad. It's why did we not tackle well in these instances? Sometimes it's fundamental, sometimes it's something schematic, or a guy reacting to something that he needs to, understanding where his help is. There's a lot that goes into it, and so we found some key areas. We'll make some adjustments through practice to address those areas.
You've had a lethal combination of Kyler Murray to Hollywood Brown. It seems like Hollywood has made a step up. It was already good. What has been a key there, and what makes them special?
Yeah, they've always had a good connection. You know, Kyler had some nice completions to him last year too. You know, in some of his mop-up times. So, yeah, I mean, you know, he's open a lot. I mean, he's just so fast. You know, and he's really just on top of being fast. We've said a lot. I mean, he's just really become a good player too. You know, I mean, he's running well after the catch. He's really comfortable with what we're doing. You know, from a system standpoint, so we're able to move him around, you know, in a lot of different ways, you know, create matchups, and so and he can handle that. So, and I think the other big part of it is, you know, the threat in the run game, and then the threat that having, you know, C.D. Lamb and Calcaterra and A.D. Miller and, you know, a lot of our other receivers that are playing well right now. It's hard to put all your attention on one guy with the way we're doing things.
Let's go to Bob on the right.
Lincoln, you said last week you're really happy with the 4 running backs that you have. And Sutton goes down. You realize how quickly that depth can change. How close is someone like Kennedy Brooks to being a bigger part of the game?
Very close, very close. I mean, I think, you know, you saw kind of how the running back deal went last year, and then all of a sudden somebody broke through. So I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm sure at some point we'll have somebody just really break through and just completely take the thing over. And so, no, those guys are talented. You know, him and Pledger, you know, there's some things we've seen that you guys haven't seen with them yet that get you pretty excited, you know, and so they've got to continue to grow. But Kennedy's been one of our most explosive runners here, you know, behind the scenes for a while. So I'll be excited when his opportunity comes.
Barry?
Yeah, talking about that, saying coach, maybe somebody might take it over. It looks to me like Trey Sermon's been a really good player last year and this year. I mean, what more does he have to do to be that guy?
Yeah, no, I mean he's definitely our one right now. I think a little bit is just seeing how he handles the whole deal, which he did a great job of it. You know, here in the first game against Iowa State. You know, and I think he himself was really close. He had some really good tough runs for us. He had a couple of long runs. One got called back by the penalty, but I think he's really close himself to breaking loose and making even a few more explosive plays for us as well. So, no, he's definitely one right now. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt, but we're going to need more, and I think we, you know, that can certainly change as we go forward. You know, those other guys are talented too, and like I said, I'll be excited for them to get their opportunities and see what they do.
You know, as an offensive-minded coach, how much do you appreciate an attack like Army? It goes really against the grain of what college football is about, and the players that buy into that system.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it a ton because they believe in what they do. They do it at a high level. You know, there was a lot of years there that we thought offensively they were probably the team that we were the most similar to through the years at Texas Tech, just because of, you know, distributing the ball and not having 1,000 different plays and, you know, just trying to get really good at a few things. So it looks radically different, but the core beliefs of it are very similar to what we carry with our guys too. So, but no, it's a great system. It was a great system, you know, 30, 40 years ago when people started to do it. That's a great system now. It'll be a great system in 40 more years too. I mean, it's good football, and they play it at a high level.
We'll go to Cliff Brown on the right.
How much of a challenge is it to simulate what they do offensively in practice?
It's a challenge. No, it is. That's one of the toughest challenges. And so you know, you got to be creative with your roster. That's something that we looked at well ahead of time, even as much to, you know, looking at the guys that we're bringing in, what they played in high school, you know, guys that had any experience with it. So, you know, we'll see how the week goes. We think we got a pretty good plan with it. And the good thing is, you know, when you play a team like this, you know, our guys are, you know, what we do offensively is probably fairly difficult for them to simulate as well. So both teams are dealing with that.
We'll go to Tyler Palmatier.
Lincoln, you had freshmen coming into the year who looked like sure thing guys who probably wouldn't redshirt. Was Braden Willis one of those guys in your opinion? And if not, what has he done recently to put himself in position to be a guy that looks like he can help you throughout the year?
Yeah, we probably knew the least about him of any signee that we had, just because we got on him so late, and that thing just kind of came together right there towards the end. But so we knew he was going to be a good player, or we really felt obviously comfortable with that, but we didn't know exactly what he was going to be. And that clarified pretty early for us. And yeah, he's just, man, he's really attentive. He's very, very mature for his age. Physically, he's good. He's done some really nice things for us on special teams, and we're going to continue to find ways to get him involved offensively because he's a little bit different talent than what we have at some of these other positions. And so, yeah, he's carried himself the right way. You know, he prepares like he's been here for a few years. So he's one of those guys that you could definitely foresee as the year goes on having a bigger and bigger impact for us just overall.
Yeah, Sauber makes all 3 of his field goals, puts all his kickoffs through the end zone for touchbacks, and was good in the punting game. How valuable is that, having a guy like him?
I mean, it just changes the game. I mean, he changed the game a lot of times. I mean, the kickoffs are a game changer. The punts were obviously just critical. And then, you know, the field goals were, I mean, as important as anything. So, yeah, he's a game changer. And again, we've said it a lot, but it's, you know, I hope people appreciate him for what he has done and what he's going to continue to do for this team through this year. I mean, it's hard to do, and it's just very, very rare, and he's done it at a very, very high level. And you could argue, you know, maybe that game the other day, you know, just looking at the perspective of all 3, maybe is the best game that he's played here.
Lincoln, where's Marquise Brown? You talked about him earlier. Where's he gone from, say, when he got here last year to now? I think people look at him as just a speed guy that'll run by you. Yeah. But the other aspects of the game, route running, catching in traffic, things like that, how's he progressed in that area?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't weigh 144 pounds anymore. He's physically gotten a lot better. You know, he's bought into the weight room. He's plays stronger. He's able to block. He's able to run through some tackles now. I think a little more durable. He's learned to use his speed as a weapon, but not all the time. When he got here, it was always fast. You love that. I mean, you would much rather have a guy that's playing fast all the time and you got to pump the brakes on him a few times as opposed to a guy that's not. But he was just out of control when he got here. I mean, he was falling down on routes. It was fast, but it was just like, whoa, you know, you got a great weapon, but you got to learn how to use it. And he's learned that. And he's just worked hard, man. He's worked hard, and he's become extremely reliable catching the ball. You know, very confident hands. And again, and I would just say his knowledge base, where he came in as a receiver, incredibly raw, and he's playing right now like a much more polished guy.
Now, Lincoln, you have a guy on your staff in Tim Kish who knows firsthand not just the kind of football they play up there, but the kind of kids that are in the program. And I'm wondering, I know you talk to your guys about respecting the opponent every week. I get that, but I'm wondering, either you or Coach Kish use who you have coming in here this weekend as an opportunity to address just how unique this opponent is in that respect.
Most definitely. No, we understand this is, in so many ways, it's, you know, the respect that we have for all of our service academies, for what these guys do. I mean, we know how hard it is just to be a Division I athlete, you know, and go to school and do all the things you got to do there. And on top of it, you put on all the different responsibilities that these guys have. I mean, it's something that has been discussed. It's something that will be discussed. I mean, I think the respect for what they do, the respect just simply for them as a football team is there. It's been an emphasis. Coach Kish has certainly been a big part of it because, like you said, he's got a pretty unique perspective into that. So this is an important game for so many reasons. Important to us. I know it'll be important to Army. It's important to this state, and it's a special one.
So you talked about how well they execute offensively, how well they know their offense. After 3 weeks of playing offenses that, you know, maybe not their own fault, they had different quarterback situations, but after 3 weeks of playing offenses that are kind of a little bit in flux, is that the biggest challenge of this week, is playing an offense that you know is not going to make any mistakes?
Yeah, you know, we hope they make some mistakes. You know, hopefully we make them make some mistakes. But yeah, their whole team's a challenge. Like I said, the offense gets all the, you know, the publicity and it's the main talking point because it's unique. But I mean, these guys are darn good on defense too. I mean, their special teams are very solid. I mean, they're a very good football team. So I think the whole thing is a challenge. Now, no doubt the offense is unique, and we're going to have to adapt well, and our guys are going to have to understand how we want to attack them and how we want to defend them. But, it's not a one-man show. I mean, these guys have a good football team. If you're only good on one side of the ball, you don't win 10 games like they did the year before. You don't play the quality of ball that they've played just as a team. So it's going to be a challenge all the way around.
Lincoln, unless I'm mistaken, you've never coached against a triple option team at East Carolina or
Yeah,
Texas
we played.
Tech?
We had Navy. Okay. Yeah, maybe 3 years, maybe.
How do you go about preparing to face it as far as the balance, like you've talked about a couple times, of preparing but not over preparing, in preseason camp, things like that, and just the way you attack it defensively?
Yeah, no, it comes. There's a lot of things that are factors there. I think when you play them, what part of the season, I think is definitely a factor. I think schematically, kind of what your plan is going into it, and just how unique or how different that is from what you do on against other more kind of normal offenses, I guess you say now. Where you think your kids are at and your players are at, is mentally, there's a lot of things that goes into it, because you do kind of have the push and pull of how much do you work a team like this, how much do you work the offensive schemes that you're going to see more from every other opponent that you play. Don't know that I want to sit there and discuss how much that we've worked them, but those are discussions that have been ongoing since the day spring ball started.
Yeah, Coach, how big were the wins by Oklahoma State and Texas over the weekend for the perception of the Big 12?
Yeah, they were good. I mean, I want our league to do well, but I'm confident in this league. Like I've said, I believe in this league. I know we have good football teams, so I'm happy our league did well. But just we're just kind of trying to get our own group ready right now.
Yeah, the defensive back play, particularly the corners, had some good moments, had some rough moments Saturday. Any change in the rotation or anything you're going to do different there?
Well, I mean,
considering you're playing a team that's 100 degrees reversed,
right.
What difference does it make this week? But going forward, have you got any rotational changes?
Yeah, I don't know that I would announce any changes right now, but we've got some depth there, especially with Trey Brown. We're going to continue to keep that situation like we're trying to do everyone on the team right now, very competitive. And if guys are playing at a high level, they're going to continue to play, and if they're not, other people are going to be in there. So we've got to play more consistent. Like you said, our corners had some really bright moments the other day, and but then we had a few that, again, you're going to give up a competitive catch every now and then. The biggest thing for us, we got to get people on the ground, and so that's going to be a big emphasis point. And if guys don't tackle, then they won't be on the field.
Yeah, Lincoln, Marcellus Sutton took just a savage hit the other day.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first reaction when you saw the hit? I know he came back in the game, but is he okay today? Did he suffer any kind of, neurological event or anything like that? He showed some of those symptoms of almost a concussion.
No, I think he's good. No concussion. He came back in. We wouldn't have got him back in the game if there'd have been any signs of a concussion. That one's we pulled the plug on those pretty quick, and so no, he came back fine. I think it's one that maybe scared him a little bit more than anything. But he's a tough kid, So once he got over there, had a chance to talk to our medical team, he always good. So I anticipate having him.
If someone told you before the season, after 3 games, Kyler's numbers would be exactly what Baker's numbers were.
First off, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what Baker's numbers were. I just don't look at it in the comparison. If somebody would have told me 3 games in he's playing at a very high level, would I be surprised? No. Am I surprised? No. I'm excited about the way he's playing. Kind of like Mark Jackson. He can play a lot better too, and he's going to continue to get better. But he is playing. He's playing the position at a high level right now. He's playing plenty good enough for us to win, and I think he's going to do nothing but get better. But I'm not surprised at all.
How well has your offensive line played up to this point? You know, a couple of times you've indicated you think they can still play a lot better, or they should. How did they play Saturday, and where do you think they're at right now?
Yeah, kind of almost kind of the same answer. You know, they're playing good. We haven't played a great game yet up front. I don't know. We played pretty good against FAU up front, I would say. Last couple of games we've had a few things that we need to do better. But you know, we got high expectations for that group. You know, we expect them to play at an elite level, and they've played very good, but we haven't played elite yet. And one of those again that I think we're very close to kind of busting through and playing the way that we want to play. And so, you know, there's some, even though some guys that have played some ball, there's some new faces, and you can see we're almost completely in sync, but not quite there yet. So we got to push hard and do everything we can to get over the hump.
Lincoln, could you, I know he had the fumble over the weekend, could you just talk about Grant Calcaterra, kind of where he is, just the things that he does that you like? I mean, is it just a matter of time before he kind of breaks out, in your opinion?
Yeah, you know, he didn't get many opportunities, maybe none in the first game. It was just, that game was a little different, and made a few catches, I think, against UCLA. You know, had a couple the other day. Obviously, the fumble was a disappointing play, but he's doing some good things. You know, I think he's kind of on that list of guys that, you know, it's probably just a matter of time. You know, he's definitely progressed as a player. Just a ton of balls have just not, you know, found his way yet, but they will. That's just kind of how this thing goes. He's you know, and as Marquise and those guys continue to produce on the edge, I mean, it's going to create some good opportunities for him as we go forward.
Coach, I'm curious if you saw the punt return by North Texas
I did.
the other day. What you
Awesome.
thought about that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I was jealous. It was good. Yeah, it was good. No, it was smart. I tell you what it was gutsy. Not as much, I mean, by the coaches for sure, and obviously great job by them schematically, but I mean, you tell a kid, you got to stand back there, not wait for a fair catch. If one of the guys doesn't see it and just plows you into the ground, there's got to be some trust on that guy's part. So I give the returner a ton of credit because he had to have some guts to hang in there on that one. But yeah, it was great design and took advantage of something that, you know, maybe people, you know, assume sometimes. So yeah, it was a big play for them.
Do you talk to your guys about that, about not assuming things, the fair catch, things like that?
More than you can imagine. They probably get tired of us saying it.
When you say you're jealous, is it something like you open up the playbook and are more creative than probably anyone who's ever been here? I know you say that in jest, but do you take it as a challenge each week to be more creative than you had been before?
Yeah, no, I'm really jealous. That wouldn't be funny. I'm really jealous. Not me. I mean, you know, it's a great thing, and you know, they did it at the right time against something that they saw. So I think anytime you can steal one for your team here or there, give them a chance for something like that. I mean, it energizes. It sends a message that's sometimes tough for the other team to come back from. So. No, it was really good.
Go to Kerry. Curious about Seth and your relationship. That's kind of one of the earliest Oklahoma, Leach crossovers. It's kind of carried through. How well do you know each other, and would you call him one of your closer friends in the profession?
You're talking about Seth Luttrell, I assume. Yeah, know each other really well. Several years together there at Texas Tech. I think we'd met maybe once or twice before he came to coach with us there, and then I had a really good run, with Seth there. You know, him and his wife Becca have been good friends of ours. You know, people that we stay in touch with. Keep up with what they do at North Texas, and he's obviously done a tremendous job there. I mean, those guys are playing high level. They got several of our old guys there. Graham Harrell, our old quarterback, Joe Filani, one of our receivers. But no doubt, very close. Stay in touch, bounce ideas off of each other. You know, being two younger head coaches, he's been one of the guys that's been very good to talk to, and like I said, kind of bounce our experiences back and forth off each other. But yeah, great friend, and really proud and happy for him the way that program's going right now.
Lincoln Kyler has shown a unique ability to slide to stay out of trouble, but he's also, in that last game especially, took a couple of hits. Didn't slide to stay out of trouble. Where do you fall between letting Kyler be Kyler, let him try to get yards and staying completely out of trouble and sliding early?
I trust his judgment. His judgment's been good, and he's going to take one every now and again, but he's smart about it. So I have zero reservations about the way he's doing it right now.
One final question for Bob.
That's pressure, Mike. All right. You mentioned Saturday, possibility, Caleb Kelly redshirting this season. How did he handle that conversation?
I can't believe that went to the last question. Thought we were going to get out of here, Mike. It's anytime we have that discussion with our players, it's a conversation. It's not you go sit down and this is what you're doing. I don't want to get too much into the details of this one because I don't know how this one's going to play out, and there's some strategic parts of it as well. But I would just say in general for us, we can sit there and make decisions all day, but if players aren't bought into them, then those decisions aren't going to work, even if they're the right decisions. And so we want our players, especially anything that has to do with their eligibility or redshirting or anything like that, we want to give them some ownership in the decision as well. I just never feel like it's my place. I give them a recommendation. I'll tell them what I think's best, this or that, but I think if I just go make the decision, or we as a staff just go make the decision, just tell the guys what you're doing, I don't know. I just don't think that's the right way to do it. And so we've had good conversations with him. I would say that, we're on the same page. We know this season could go about 100 different ways, both for him and for this team. That's how it goes every year. And so we'll just kind of be ready to adjust week to week, and we'll see how it plays out.